Okay, so somebody had requested a video on how to handle the rage. Fantastic question, first and foremost. So, rage, yes, rage. Rage, is so common. Rage, unfortunately, it's totally natural, and you can't really fix natural or normal, but you can deal with it. And so I think for me, what really helped was knowing that it was normal to feel this angry, because it's scary. Like, I don't normally get like crazy angry, but I felt crazy angry. I remember there was a time when I first found out, just like the tip of the iceberg stuff with Jack. I had raced home, the 2 hours, raced home, barged in the front door, caught him on the computer, chatting with more people. And I quickly turned to my left, and we had a loaded shotgun on our wall because we lived out in the middle of the woods. And my first thought was, I'm gonna freaking kill him. I was so angry. I've never thought that about another human being before. And my next thought was, Dana, don't kill him. It's not worth going to jail over. And then my third thought was, well, how long are we talking for? Like, I could do 5 to 7. Like, that's my thought process. And that was terrifying to think, like, yeah, I would totally go to jail for this motherfucker. Like, I was so angry. I was so angry. So that's a scary place to be. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that I had to do, I think, to really kind of push past the anger. For me, I'm a very visual person. So a lot of like what has worked for me is visualization. So I made this board. I call it my Buddha board. It's just a cheap piece of styrofoam core board. I've got duct tape and stuff on the back of it here. I've had this board for 6 years now. It's survived I don't know how many moves. Like, I've moved, I think, 3 different times in about 6 years. And it's always come with me because it really means a lot to me. So I'll kind of run through it with you really quick. And the top one says, make the present moment your friend. This was a huge one for me because I didn't have any peace. The present moment was not my friend. I felt like I was eternally holding my breath to just somehow like heal, and then I would wake up and feel fine. And I had really underestimated all of the mental work I needed to do on myself in order to stay sane, in order to stay stay sane. Forget happiness, just to stay sane. And so during this time, I was listening to a lot of Tony Robbins. I was listening to a lot of Eckhart Tolle. You can find both those guys here on YouTube. A lot of motivational speakers. I was really trying to feed my brain with everything positive, everything constructive, to just kind of keep my mindset in a good space. So making the present moment my friend. What helped me to do that was to take time every day, every time I started feeling anxiety building, to be thankful and grateful. And they say that you can't hold 2 emotions at the same time, right? There's a whole cognitive dissonance kind of thing, but it's true with emotions too, not just with thoughts. So you can't be fearful or enraged and grateful and thankful at the same time. It's kind of one or the other. And so I found that just taking a moment and just saying thank you to the universe, to your understanding of God, whatever you want to say, thank you. Like, thank you so much for clean water, right? Like, that's a huge thing that we really take for granted in this country. Thank you so much that I have my health. Thank you so much that I have food in the refrigerator. Thank you so much. I've got $10 in my wallet. That's awesome. And at the time, I was so fearful. I mean, I had this tenant who had destroyed my house. I was living in basically this pile of rubble. It was the most depressing environment. I absolutely hated this house. It was this rental property that, if I didn't know better, I'd swear it was built on an Indian burial ground. Like, that house, we had like nothing but problems with it the whole time we owned it. It was horrible. Super, super stressful. And I was in nursing school, so that was a ton of stress. I wasn't working. I had recently I had to quit my job at the domestic violence shelter. There was a whole school conflict with that. It was 2 hours away. I absolutely loved my job. I found a huge sense of purpose being there. But after Jack and I broke up, I had to move to this rental property, which, like I said, was 2 hours away. So I had a lot of life changes all at the same time. It was just incredibly stressful, and it was devastating. But taking time to just be thankful, like being thankful that you have socks, being thankful that you have feet to put socks on, it's those kinds of things. Being thankful that, honestly, and this sounds crazy, but sometimes even being thankful that you have the problems that you have, because some people, man, they really have some problems. So, just slowing things down and being thankful and grateful for like everything that you have, good or bad. So, okay, so the next one, bring changes into awareness one at a time. That's more for me. I am super ADD, if you haven't figured that out already. And so after this whole relationship, it just imploded. It really sent me into like super spaz mode, and I had just all of this nervous energy, and it was just, I was just a mess. It was a mess. So this one is more like this, just more for me. Probably the bigger one that I really wrestled with was release judgment of people and events. I'll run through these and then I'm going to go back to this one. So stay open to possibilities, be in the now, live an authentic life, detach, slow down and do less, and then namaste. So release judgment of people and events. That one it's a hard one, right? So on one hand, there you have like events just are, right? Events they're not neither good or bad. They just are. We are the ones that assign meaning to them. We're the ones that say that's bad or that's good. But the reality is we don't know. And Eckhart Tolle talks about this, and he says really events, he says it so well. Events are basically a thread in a tapestry that we will never see complete. So we really don't know if events are good or bad. They just are. And it's what we assign to them that makes the difference. It's how we interpret these things. So, and it was around this time, so my mom had come out to stay with me. This house, I was living in this pile of rubble. It was, like I said, incredibly stressful. And my mom had come out to stay with me, and she'd made a comment one day that absolutely enraged me. And I know she didn't mean it in a bad way. It was just like, she didn't get it at all. She really thought, my relationship with Jack was the bad breakup. And, she just, even though I was telling her what had happened, it's like, it just didn't register with her. So very frustrating. And she'd made the comment that, well, Dana, maybe this is exactly what you needed. And she meant it in terms of Jack was really handy and had probably saved me thousands of dollars in handyman costs because he'd helped me with these houses. And I remember just being like, oh, I was so angry because it was like, what? I would have much rather paid a handyman. I would have much rather worked 3 jobs to pay a handyman, the several $1,000s that I would have had to pay Jack. I mean, Jack destroyed my faith in humanity, destroyed my faith in men, destroyed my self-esteem. Like there was this huge bomb that went off in my life from him. Plus, I think there was a solid chance he was trying to kill me. So like, WTF? What? Like that just made me so angry, and it took me a while. I don't even know, it was weird. It was like, then my brain just kind of was thinking about that and thought, well, what if she's right? Like, what if this really is exactly what you needed to have happen? Like, what if this was one of the best things to happen to you? And that was really, and it absolutely enraged me, but it kind of got me thinking back to the whole like releasing judgment of people and events. Like, what if this is exactly what I needed to have happen in my life? And what would that look like? And what can I gain? What can I gain from this? Right? So if this is some sort of like life lesson from me, then what would it be? And so having to kind of grasp on and like just like seriously like squeeze out any possible lesson from this really helped me to deal with my rage. So it was like, okay, this was like a crash course into personal growth. It's not something that I expected, not something that I necessarily even wanted. But I will tell you, now that I'm almost, 5, going on 6 years out of it, I am really thankful for the experience. I really, really am. I wouldn't want to duplicate it, but it led, it gave way to this such tremendous personal growth that I really don't think I would have had either way. And the same thing with Steve. I mean, that relationship happened several years later, and it was this pretty much the same stuff all over again, the same double life, the same covert narcissism, the same nonsense. And I was able to heal in a much shorter amount of time. I mean, that relationship was only maybe 6 months long, and it took me maybe, about no more than 6 months to really get over that, because I'd already done all that emotional work. I already knew, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what you are. I know exactly what's going on here. Like, there is no back and forth. Like, it was a lot easier to walk away. It was a lot easier to not be caught up so much and emotionally in that. So, just focusing on all of the life lessons and all of the self-esteem building I needed to do within me, and just reflecting back on kind of how I got here and what the red flags were. And this is, all of this rage, all of this work that you see in these YouTube videos and on my website especially, this was all really fueled by a lot of anger. These were all of my lessons learned. So I really tried to channel that into writing about it. That's kind of what I do. I'm a wannabe writer. So I channeled all of that into that. And I knew from early on in the relationship that I was hell bent. I was so determined that I was going to take this experience and I was going to use it to help other people. And so detaching from it like that and being like, okay, this is this experience, and I need to examine it. Because keep in mind too, at the time, okay, so I had this unique perspective of, I was a former advocate at a domestic violence shelter. I'm a victim. And now at the time, I'm a psychiatric nurse. So I'm looking at this experience through several different lenses and trying to make sense of it and trying to squeeze out everything that I could from it in order to help other people get through it. So now I honestly kind of feel like this is my calling in life. So, but I had to make peace with that early on. So, some other pointers that you can use. So whenever I began having these like rage-filled thoughts that would surface, where I just was so filled with hate and anger I couldn't even see straight, I would visualize, okay, first of all, this is kind of like a Buddhist thing or philosophy, okay? So, but it's basically where you distance yourself from your thoughts. Because we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are just thoughts. It just happens. They happen like breathing. They happen like any other, just reflexive physical action that our body has. And so we have thoughts throughout the day. We are not our thoughts. And realizing that and trying to separate from them and to visualize yourself, maybe laying on the grass on a beautiful day, right? And it's a blue sky overhead, and there's all these different like white clouds going by. And if you picture each like white cloud as a thought, and the thoughts just roll by and they change shapes, and then they kind of go on and then they change shapes, and you look at them and you're like, huh, okay. And then you watch them go by, and then the next one will come by, and maybe the next one is, I'm so angry at Jack right now. Okay, you watch it go by. The next one is, I wonder if I have any, orange juice left in the fridge. And then that one goes by, and then I wonder if it's going to rain tonight. And then, you know what I mean? It's just this constant stream of thoughts. So it's distancing yourself and not getting overly wrapped up in any one of the thoughts really helps to kind of slow things down. When I was having really hateful, hurtful thoughts, I would also imagine wrapping those thoughts in like a bubble of light, and then just wishing like light and love, just light and love, and then just letting it go. Knowing early on, anger does nothing but destroy us, right? And so I was only hurting myself with the angrier that I was allowing myself to stay. And so I had to use a lot of these tips and tricks to kind of get past the anger and to channel all of my pain and give it a purpose. So that's really what helped me. And I'd be curious to know, like, what has helped you guys? How did you push through this? Let me know down below in the comments. I'll be curious to see what's worked for everybody else. So take care. That's my video for tonight. I hope that helps somewhat, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.